prosperous country. So then I ask this government, because you're the government for all. You're not just the government for the UPP. You're my government too. Whether I voted for you or not, he's my prime minister too. And I want to know, what is your vision for this country? What is your vision to take this country and to build on the solid foundation that you've inherited? Where previous Antigua Labour Party administrations, Madam Speaker, preached a stable and prosperous environment. An environment where people in this country had big dreams and had confidence in fulfilling those dreams, that those dreams are just not mind images, but that those dreams can be fulfilled, Madam Speaker. I am saying to this honourable House that yes, the Antigua Labour Party has committed errors along the way. We were human and we erred. We are out of office, Madam Speaker. But I'm saying that we accomplished a lot. Stop dividing this country. Stop eroding the harmony and the peace-like atmosphere that existed in this country for 3 decades. Mr. Prime Minister. Mr. Prime Minister, send back your speechwriter. He's preaching this harmony among the citizens. He's further dividing an already divided nation. Let us continue in love and peace and harmony with each other. And so we can achieve, Madam Speaker. We were aggressive and dynamic as a government. And I want to see this government do the same. Not simply for political gamesmanship, not simply for political advantage, but always motivated what is the best in the interest for the people of this country. And that, Madam Speaker, I submit to this honourable House.
I acknowledge the member for St. Peter.
Madam Speaker, first let me apologize for my absence today. But I really was not feeling well. But I had to do my duty and come to this honourable House.
Very happy to see you, sir.
Peter's constituency sent me here to represent them and to advocate their interests and to be the guardians of their interests. So I'm here, Madam Speaker, because I was afraid that the government would wind up the debate and I would not get a chance to make my contribution. But Madam Speaker, in all honesty, I am privileged once again to rise in this honourable House and to make my contribution to the 2005 budget debate. I don't have any Lennox Westons or Warren Saunders to help me to prepare my notes. I'm not as fortunate to have the Financial Secretary, Whitfield Harris, or the Budget Director anymore to do my research for me. So I prepared my own research, Madam Speaker, and I hope you'll allow me. I will not read my notes, but I will refer to my notes. But they are mine. And rest assured, they are mine from the heart. Madam Speaker, I feel strongly about this budget, and about any budget debate for that matter. For budget is probably the most important thing in the life of any country, and in the life of any parliamentary debate. Because you see, a budget affects the lives and the welfare of all the citizens of the country. It affects the quality of life, and it questions the very fundamental commitment to our country. But before I go into my analysis and my critique of the budget, it would be remiss of me if I was not, Madam Speaker, to be honest. It would be extremely dishonest of me not to congratulate sincerely the member for St. John's Wool East, my learned friend, my once so-called blood brother, as Lennox Weston accused us. He says that the former Attorney General, now Minister of Finance and Economy, Dr. Joey John and myself, we have an insatiable appetite for greed and for corruption, and that we were once the 3 blue-eyed boys of Leicester Burn. But indeed, errors my attorney. And I'm proud today that you are the Minister of Finance and the Economy. I'm also proud that you're the member for Rural East. And I want to commend you for that budget presentation that you delivered to this Honorable House on this historic 30th of November last week, when, Madam Speaker, the Honorable Member waxed so eloquently. He displayed his great oratorical skills. He was so persuasive in his debate presentation. I was proud of you. And I must be honest, Madam Speaker, at one time I wanted to get up and applaud him and to join the rest of this Honorable House and to give him a standing ovation. I was tempted. Really and sincerely, I think you have learned well at the feet of our former boss and mentor, Lester Bryan Bird. But let me warn you, Honorable Minister of Finance, you were not given the portfolios of the Ministry of Finance and the Economy to come to this Honorable House and to show up your colleague ministers, especially the member for St. Philip's South, the Honorable Wilmot Daniel, and the member for St. John's City East, who has great ambitions to be Prime Minister of this country one day. And you have shown them up. You have indeed even made the Honorable Prime Minister feel insecure. And he must have a sense of insecurity now, Madam Speaker, after having listened to that marathon presentation by the Honorable Minister of Finance. But, Madam Speaker, as I said, I was in bed for most of the day. And in all seriousness, I would like to make my presentation uninterrupted by the government side. I sat and I listened to them today, and they were never interrupted by this side. But every time the member for St. John's City West or the member for St. Peter gets up in this Honorable House, I notice that we are harassed and we are harangued and we're not allowed. I want to be able to make my presentation uninterrupted, Madam Speaker. So I crave your indulgence. The Honourable Minister of Finance last Tuesday was able to sell ice in hell and make money from it. He was so persuasive in his deliberations and in his speech. But you see, my dear Minister of Finance, we all know that the government finances and the state of the fiscal situation in Antigua and Barbuda have been in a precarious situation and has been in fiscal imbalance for some years now. There's no secret about that. So to come to this Honourable House and say that the Labour Party was a fiscally responsible government and we balanced budget after budget would be a blatant lie. The whole world knows. The IMF knows it, the World Bank knows it, the CDB knows it, the Central Bank knows it. But the important point is that employment was viewed by the previous Antigua Labour Party government as a means to alleviate poverty. Poverty alleviation. Employment in the public service was viewed by previous Antigua Labour Party governments as a protection of the more vulnerable in our society. We were told time after time, V.C. Bird was told, Lester Bird was told, John St. Luce, Malvin Joseph, myself, you have to send home 3,000, 4,000 public servants. You have to cut the wage bill. You have to have fiscal discipline. You have to have an austerity program. You have to tighten your belts. We have heard all of those phrases over the years, Madam Speaker. It is a known fact also that more frequently, over the last year or two, that the previous government has had to borrow monthly from the local banks to meet our current obligations, to meet payroll to public servants monthly. And we know that such borrowing undoubtedly, Madam Speaker, exacerbated the debt service burden of this country. It widened the fiscal current account deficit. There's no secret about that. We make no apology for that. But, Madam Speaker, We laid off not one single public servant. We sent home not one public servant. We told the IMF and the World Bank and the Central Bank, we will not send them home. And let me explain, Madam Speaker. This Labour Party has been castigated and demonized by the present government of achieving nothing in this country. We have done nothing. We have broken down all institutions.